Welcome to the unit. This is a new thing. You've not seen it here yet. We've had this for a while. It's just temporary, but I just thought, hey, why not show you guys what we've got? Because as our business grows, we just found that we needed some storage space. Now, it did look like a bomb's hit it. It's looking slightly better, but I know it's still a little bit of an organised chaos. But the essential thing is, I don't have space to store things at home anymore. The amount of little bits and pieces that we had building up that we don't use every single day, but we kind of need every so often, it just got to the point that we needed somewhere to kind of store things. So this is it, and I thought, let me just show you around, show you what we've got in here. Why not? Maybe you can leave me a comment, tell me what's missing. And especially leave me a comment if you are in the Cambridge area and you have a space that you could rent to us, because we are looking ultimately for a bigger space, like a sort of an industrial unit type thing, because this is just temporary and it's not really big enough for us to have as like a workshop and stuff. We'd love to hear from you. So I'm here at the unit because we've got a job that Corey and John are doing where we need quite a lot of materials, and I'm going to go to the office and order all the materials from CEF in a minute. But first I thought I'll come here and just check what we've got here. I don't want to buy stuff that we've already got in storage. So I'm just going to check through a few things that I've got here, and then we'll jump over to the office and I'll order the stuff. But while we're here, I'll show you around, and make sure you stay to the end because I'm going to show you my museum of ancient electrical equipment, which I think you'll find quite interesting. Some amazing stuff that I've ripped out over the years of various jobs. So stay to the end because I'll show you that. Before everyone comments about, oh, you're showing off everything that you've got, somebody's going to break in, blah, blah, blah. This place is like Fort Knox, okay? So it's got an alarm. It's got 24-hour CCTV and guards on site. It's gated. It's locked up. It's like nobody's going to break in here and steal our stuff, okay? So I'm happy to show off what we've got in here. We've got the Hilti stuff, as you know. We don't use it that often, so having the Hilti Chaser and the Hilti Vacuum rocking around the van all the time, that would be much more likely to get nicked, and also it's just taking up space. So the ultimate thing with us is we want to be organised and keep the van like minimalist as possible. Otherwise you just end up clutter everywhere and you can't get to the stuff you really need. We try to keep on the vans only the things that we use on a day-to-day basis. Materials or tools that we don't use that often we can store here, and that means we can kind of stack up materials for jobs as well. So like for example, we got 6 Zappies there, or 5 Zappies. That's for our next couple of weeks of jobs. So we got the Zappies here ready to go. Corey can just rock up, grab the ones that he needs for the week, and then go out and do the jobs. Yeah, let's start here and we'll work our way around. As you can see, Corey likes to floss. He keeps a whole stash of flossing equipment here. In any emergency situation, he can floss. So we've got various armoured cables. This is like a 5-core 6mm, I think. You've got 5-core 2.5, 3-core 4mm, more 3-core 4mm, I think, because we use quite a lot of that. This is Cat 5E SWA, useful for if you're doing data connections to garden offices, or if you're doing EV charge points that need a data connection. That's always handy, so we've got a bit of a stack of that. And then down here we've got data cable. We don't do a lot of it, and what happens is you buy a whole box. You have to buy a 305 metre box, and then you end up using 20 metres of it and sticking the box back in the van. So rather than throwing it away, we just store it here, and then it's ready for other jobs. This is FP cable, so this is fire protection cable for fire alarm panels. That's that kind of stuff. These barriers, you probably saw these. If you haven't watched the Nightmare electric vehicle charging video yet, watch it, because we use these. And again, they're something that takes up quite a lot of space. Even though they fold up pretty compactly, they still take up a fair amount of space. So rather than storing them in the van, we can now store them here. Loads of leftover Aurora A1 stuff. What else have we got? Conduit bender. We've got a bump stop for a charge point that we never used. In the end, we've got a Zappy pedestal. It's for a project that got cancelled. Some wooden boards, some more cable. We've got 2 very special helmets here as well. So this is my welding helmet, because I like to do a bit of welding every so often, just to protect you from arc eye when you're doing arc welding. And I've got a little arc welding rig down in the corner there. And then this is a different type of arc. This is arc flash helmet. So you've seen this, we've used this on videos. This is just to protect you from arc flash when you're working in distribution boards where you're like isolating circuits and things like that. Again, we don't use these very often, so we keep them here, and then when we need them, we just take them out for specific jobs. Various, like all my power tools from my old Makita days are all stashed in here as well. Some of these, I did have in here hundreds of old MCBs and RCBOs in a big box from all the consumer unit changes that we've done, but my Uncle Phil just came down and took them all off my hands and gave me some money for them. So if you've not seen my videos where I talked about Uncle Phil, basically he owns a business called Circuit Breaker Specialists, and they buy and sell used and redundant circuit breakers. So stuff like this, when you rip stuff out of an old consumer unit, rather than throwing it away, save it, and once you've got a big box full, call Uncle Phil and he'll take them away and give you some money for them. We just keep a selection here of ones that we might use fairly often, so like 32 amp breakers for all the EV charge points that we do. The rest, we just get rid of them every so often, like every 6 months. I just send Uncle Phil a big box of them and he gives me some money for them. A bit of core drilling stuff, some old LED profile from a job that we sort of ordered too much and it's really expensive, so we can't throw it away, all that kind of stuff. Some power tools, some ladders, some long ladders that we don't really use very often. Compressor, which is always handy to have a compressor, but again, you know, don't really use it very often, so no point in keeping it on the van. Here is my museum. Do you want to see my museum? So, this is sort of a collection of vintage electrical stuff that I have ripped out of properties over the years and I couldn't bear to get rid of. So this is a old MEM changeover switch, 20 amp I think, or just an isolator. I was kind of in the process of converting it into a lamp, so I was going to put a lamp holder on here and make it into like a desk lamp, so you could just stick it like that with a plug and then you can turn the lamp on and off using this switch, but I just never got around to finishing it, so that is my little project that I've got to finish at some point. What else is in the museum? We've just got some vintage flex which I use sometimes for rewiring old lamps. This is the main event in the museum. This is a very old fuse box. It's the oldest one that I've ever removed from anywhere. It's an old MEM with rewirable fuses, but it's made of wood and it had no main earthing terminal in it, so all the earths, all the CPCs were just twisted together in the back of the fuse box. Even no neutral terminal. I can't remember what they did with the neutrals. I think, oh yeah, here there is a neutral terminal, but it's here, so it's hiding behind here. So all the neutrals go there, all the CPCs were just twisted together, and then you've got these little rewirable fuses. And some of these have asbestos fuse carriers, but these don't, which is good. So I've kept on to it because I just thought it's so beautiful. It is a museum piece really, so I couldn't bear to get rid of it. Then we've got here a really old vintage cutout head, and this is a double pole one. So you got the neutral and the line, which were both fused, which, you know, again, it's just pretty ancient. I can't remember where I got this from, but it's got the old lead sheathed cable supplying it with the two cores, the live and the neutral. So that's pretty cool. And then these are the old porcelain ceiling roses. So these are what they used to fit in like kind of Victorian times, I guess, where they didn't have any earths to the light fittings and they were just these beautiful porcelain ceiling roses with a live and neutral conductor, and then the flex would come out of here. So I mean, for some of you old boys who are watching this, let me know in the comments if you ever fitted any of these. I doubt if anyone's still alive who fitted these, but you never know. But for you young guys, I just think it's cool for you to see some of the stuff that used to be installed in the past. And this is what they used to do. So these are the old wires that went to them. These are insulated with kind of fabric. So it's just fabric and rubber kind of insulation, which is very crumbly, as you can see. And you've got one live conductor there and then two neutrals. So the neutrals were looped in and out, and then the lives went down to the switch and then up to the pendant light. So that's pretty cool. What else is there? This is an old voltage operated RCD. So before the days of current operated RCDs, which we have now in terms of, we've got 30 milliamps of leakage current to trip it. This measures based on voltage. I'm not really sure how it works exactly, but these are often found in like old properties as a main RCD, especially if it's a TT system. You find a lot of these, and you've got the yellow test button and it trips. They do tend to work still, but they're just, you can't rely on them anymore, so we have to kind of change these out now if we see them. But yeah, it's made of Bakelite. It's an old Crabtree one. Kind of cool to see these old manufacturers who are still producing stuff, and they've been doing electrical gear for so long. What else we got here? Oh yeah, here's an old light switch. So this is an old vintage light switch which has got a porcelain base, and then this is Bakelite. And you unscrew the front, and then inside you've got the connections, all lovely brass connections. It's a 5 amp, 250 volt rated, and when you flick that you can see the mechanism to switch, which is, it's really nice. These were built to last, these things, so often they do still work as good as new, which is amazing, but they're just not really safe. And then here we've got a junction box. So this is a junction box with just a screw lid. So it's not safe anymore because it can be accessed without use of a tool. But in the past, this is what they used to use. BL calendars. And I showed this off in a previous video, and someone told me who that is, but I can't remember. BL calendars. I think they got bought out by another manufacturer or something. Pretty cool little 4-way junction box. And then this is an old Bakelite lamp holder, again with the old fabric cables, and you've got these old rubber cables inside. It's pretty much the same as a modern lamp holder, to be honest, but just pretty vintage, and obviously they don't make stuff out of Bakelite anymore. And then these are what we call wooden pattresses. So these are what they used to mount the pendants on the ceiling. So you would put the wooden pattress, and then they did the connections behind here, and then they would just bring the wires through to the pendant that they needed to bring through to do the connections. So you would screw that on, and then that would make it look a little bit more pretty as well on the ceiling. So that was the museum. You got a little treat there. So hope you've enjoyed this little whistle-stop tour of the unit. If you have, hit a thumbs up. And if you're not subscribed already, why not? Because we need you to subscribe. We need to hit 100,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and we're very well on our way, but we need your help. So hit subscribe, hit the notification bell, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.